Hey, how you doing? This is RJ. Today I woke up thinking that I was going to get to do one of my Golden Age videos, that I had the time to do it because it's actually going to take a little bit of prep to get it done. But then I turned on my social media just to see what was going on, and something hit me in the face that I'm going to have to go over. I'd say I wanted to go over this for a little bit now because of the constant attacks over the last week, a little bit more than a week, of the comics pros on Comicsgate, and it seems to be, and some people say that they have proof that this is a coordinated thing, and I do believe it seems to be a coordinated thing to me. But I also wanted to combine with another idea that I want to do a video on but never had enough to do it on, which is the psychological reason why these people are attacking us, and to some extent the explanation of the psychological reason why we on Comicsgate are acting like we are. Now, what's been going on, of course, is that these SJWs have been attacking Comicsgate left, right, and center. And I actually got embroiled in this just a little bit over the weekend on Friday night because I actually had a little bit of free time on Friday night. So I said, I'll check a couple of things. So I was checking my Twitter, and since I'm subscribed to Joe Quesada, I'm following him just because I like some of the art that he posts every once in a while. He started this rant, and it just kept on popping up in my feed and popping up in my feed and popping up in my feed as I was trying to do other things. And he was just attacking Comicsgate, and I let it go, and I let it go, and I let it go, until the point where he basically said that DNC was an a-hole and that he, Joe Quesada, was the consummate professional. And I subtly, I'll say it that way, I subtly pointed out to Joe that no, it was quite the opposite. And not a lot of people that were following this conversation at the time really appreciated what I had to say. Now, there were a couple of people, but most of the people, no, they really didn't appreciate what I had to say at all. And the thing is that this is what he was saying, and he was attacking people. He was passively, aggressively attacking Comicsgate, is what he was doing. And he's been doing it over the last couple of days at least, and putting up all this stuff about something he dug up from an old comic that Stan Lee put out in one of the soapboxes, saying that basically Stan Lee would be on their side, not on the Comicsgate side, whereas other people on the Comicsgate side have been pulling other stuff from Stan Lee from his soapboxes and saying, yeah, maybe not, take a look at this. And Joe is basically saying, I'm right and you're wrong. And that's about it. And he just leaves it at that. And he's just attacking people with as many clubs as he can. And he is just the latest in a big string of people to do so. And then when I woke up this morning, he had this tweet that, well, it was probably done on late Saturday night, but it hit me this morning. And it's this tweet, and it's been okayed by CB Cebulski. CB Cebulski retweeted this. He knows exactly about it. And this is what Joe Quesada said. He said, "And for those asking, I agree with you. There have been some inappropriate things said to people I know and or work at Marvel." I take it he meant to say work for at Marvel. "And if you read my thread, you'll see that we do deal with these situations privately. I don't think it's cool when anyone does it." So that's what he said. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, right, Joe. I was on your Twitter feed on Friday. You are one of these people. You are one of these people doing the exact same thing that you are condemning here. And this tweet, when I'm looking at it now, it had 170 likes and 14 retweets, but it had 56 comments on it, right? And every one of these comments, except for one, was negative, saying that, whatever, Joe, this is a steaming pile of horse manure that you're shoveling towards right now, because everybody knows that, A, you're not doing anything at Marvel, because none of these people are getting censored. None of these people are stopping what they're doing. They're just continuing on. And some of these people are hateful and racist and everything else, and you're just turning a blind eye towards it. And even if you are doing something about it, why in the world would you do it privately? It's a public matter. These people are attacking people in public. You need to make this correction, if it actually does exist, show in the public so that people know that it's not going to happen again. So you have all these comments of these people, and they're saying, they're mostly Comicsgate people now that are commenting on this one and saying, you know what, you're lying. This isn't what's going on. You're lying. But when I was on the Twitter feed of Joe Quesada on Friday night, now it showed me exactly why Joe Quesada and the people like him at Marvel are actually doing this. Why there is this coordinated effort in order to smear Comicsgate. And it has to do with something really psychological. And I think that it's a good thing to go into this just to understand why these people are doing what they are doing. And when I read these things, because I'm going to read you a couple of things from the American Psychiatric Association, I'm going to read you a couple of these, and when I read them, it's probably going to go off in your head like ding, 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 as these are the things that are happening. These are the people that work for Marvel. It is describing them down to a T. And it is explaining, I would say as well, why they're acting like this, especially now. So DNC, Richard Meyer has actually mentioned this a couple of times, and I quite agree that these people, these SJWs that work especially for Marvel, because, you know, DC has a little bit of a tight grip on the reins there. It's not quite as foolproof as they might think, but they're kind of sort of strangling the people that are trying to put out things on Twitter. And I think that Twitter is one of the reasons why this is all blowing up like this is, because these people, they have a psychological disorder, which is a cluster B psychological disorder, which is a psychological disorder that deals with dramatic, emotional, or erratic behavior. Now, these cluster B people, they include antisocial personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, and the one that I think that they all have, which is histrionics personality disorder. And just to let you know, they kind of overlap, because if you have histrionics personality disorder, they've sort of proven that 2 out of every 3 people that have that also have narcissistic personality disorder. So they have these cluster B personality disorders. And here's how they describe it. Histrionic personality disorder, HPD, is defined by the American Psychiatric Association as a personality disorder characterized by a pattern of excessive attention-seeking emotions, usually beginning in early adulthood, and includes an excessive need for approval. Now, I can tell you right now that when I was on that Twitter conversation on Friday night, this just shone right through. I could see this just coming right out, because this is all that Joe Quesada was doing. He was looking for approval. He was lashing out and doing everything that he could to get approval. And most of the people that were replying, especially that were replying to me and backing Joe up, they were just a bunch of sycophants. All right? I really, really had to struggle and stop myself from tweeting to this one guy and asking him how brown his nose was from sticking it so far up Joe Quesada's back end. Really, I really had to stop myself, because that's what these people are. A bunch of brown nosers. I mean, you've never seen such brown nosing people. A bunch of sycophants is what it was. And Joe is just feeding off of this constant approval. And that's what these people do, because they have this personality disorder. You know, it's attention seeking. That's what they have. And, you know, it's funny because it develops in early adulthood, you know, usually around your 14s, and they don't know exactly what causes it, but they think pretty much they caused it by being neglected as a kid in some way or shape or form. And so, you know, that describes, you know, most of these comic book nerds people, that they have no attention when they're kids, and then when they finally get into a position where they actually get attention, well, they're just making sure that they stay the center of attention. They'll do whatever they can or whatever they have to, or whatever crazy thing that comes to their mind in order to make themselves the center of attention. That's what they're doing. Now, it's playing out in a different way, but that's what they're doing. Let me read you just a little more here, because honestly, you read this stuff and you think, this is the description of people that work at Marvel. So it says, HDP lies in the dramatic cluster of personality disorders. People with HPD, it's HPD, not HDP, HPD have a high need for attention, make loud and inappropriate appearances, exaggerate their behavior and emotions, and crave stimulation. Associated features include egocentrism, self-indulgence, continuous longing for appreciation, and persistent manipulative behavior to achieve their own needs. People with HPD are usually high-functioning, both socially and professionally. They usually have good social skills, despite tending to use them to manipulate others into making them the center of attention. Individuals with HPD often fail to see their own personal situation realistically, instead dramatizing and exaggerating difficulties. They may go through frequent job changes challenges as they become easily bored and may prefer withdrawing from frustration instead of facing it. Additional characteristics may include, and listen to this list, I tell you, they may include 1. Consistent seeking of reassurance or approval. 2. Excessive sensitivity to criticism or disapproval. 3. Pride of own personality and unwillingness to change, viewing any change as a threat. 4. Using symptoms of psychological illness to garner attention. 5. A need to be the center of attention. 6. Low tolerance for frustration or delayed gratification. 7. Rapidly shifting emotional states that may appear superficial or exaggerated to others. 8. Making rash decisions. 9. Blaming personal failures or disappointments on others. 10. Being easily influenced by others, especially those who treat them approvingly. 11. Being overly dramatic and emotional. Does this not describe the people working at Marvel? Does this not describe the SJWs? Constantly seeking approval, excessive sensibility to criticism or disapproval, viewing any change as a threat, using psychological illness to garner attention, manipulating others. This is what they're doing. These are the people, these are the SJWs working for Marvel. And why are these people working for Marvel, and why do they have such a stranglehold on it? Well, in order to go and understand that, you go from the psychological to the historical, and you're taught, this is just part of history. You're taught that, I'm always saying that, SJWs, they're the useful idiots of your socialists and your communists. And they specifically know that socialists and communists, they have a very specific order. They have a way in order to attract people. They specifically look for people with psychological disorders in order to get them attracted to their ideologies. They're looking for these people with psychological disorders. They target them and they go after them, and they make them part of their ideology. They make them their foot soldiers. Why? Because they become weapons for them. They're the useful idiots, because what they do is they take these people with psychological disorders and they teach them their ideology, and they rile them up emotionally because it's easy to do, because they have a psychological disorder and they're craving attention, and then they point them in the direction, after they're frustrated, they point them in the direction of the people who the socialists and communists want attacked. That's what they do. That's how they use them. That's their tactic. That's what they do. And they also teach them that once they get into an institution, they make sure that they crowd out anybody else who has an opposing opinion and just fill up the rank and file with people like them, so that they can use the institution then as a larger weapon, not just the individual. That's what they do. That's historically, it's been proven. That's how they target people, and that's what they do. And that's what has been happening to the comic industry. And most, I would say, not just of the comic industry, but most of the literary industry altogether. They're using it as a weapon. And that's why these people are doing what they're doing. That's why these people are like they are. They're psychologically damaged people. There's a whole massive horde of them that are controlling things like Marvel, because they're specifically targeted by your socialists and your communists, and they're specifically told that they have to make the institution part of this that's going to follow it. And the thing is that here's the thing, that not only do they take these people and put them in these positions, and it explains what is going on, but it explains why these people are attacking Comicsgate so fervently right now as well. Because when you deal with people with this personality disorder or other personality disorders of the kind like cluster B personality disorders, what you do if you're someone who has a person like this in your life and you're asking the question, how do you deal with such people? How do I deal with such people and not make the situation worse? Well, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to walk away. That's what you're supposed to do, right? And that explains exactly what we're doing in Comicsgate, because these are the people that are running everything, and we're walking away. Because the thing is that these people are going to blow up, and you know that they're going to blow up. That's part of how they try to control you. That's how these people with the psychological disorder try to control you. They say, if you walk away, I'm going to throw a tantrum, and they try to control you with that. And the thing is, you can't argue with them. You can't use any rational arguments with them, because they're dealing strictly with emotion. It's emotion that's controlling them, and they'll just dig in their heels. So you gotta walk away. That's what you have to do. And that's what we have done in Comicsgate. And so these people and their attention, and they're starting to throw this tantrum. They're blowing up because we are walking away. And specifically because not only have we walked away, but we have proven that we walked away. Because over the last 6 months, we have proven with the Indiegogo campaigns and the crowdfunded campaigns that we have walked away. And it is impacting the industry in a way that it wouldn't have been predicted, I don't think, by these people at the very least 6 months ago. Because when you deal with a large company, they don't care about complainers. They really don't pay attention to complainers. It doesn't matter how loud the complainer is. It doesn't matter how much evidence that they say that they have. It doesn't matter how many people are complaining. If that evidence is not forthcoming, if you cannot present it, they don't care about the complaints. It is not until it affects their bottom line that they start to care about the complaints. And we have shown over the last 6 months that, yeah, it's affecting their bottom line. We have taken millions of dollars away from comics that would have been that people would have spent on Marvel and DC comics and put it towards these crowdfunded comics. And it's not going to stop anytime soon. So we have proven that. We are taking their bottom line and we are messing with it because we are putting our money into the crowdfunded comics. And we have proven it. And since we have proven that we have walked away, not only since we have walked away, but we have proven that we have walked away, then these people are starting to throw this tantrum. And why? Because the people at the top are starting to notice, of course, and they don't want us to walk away. They're going to try to rectify this situation if it really is affecting their bottom line that much. And so they're throwing this tantrum in part because we are taking attention away from them, but also because in part that we are threatening the attention that they're getting from the top. Because if, of course, these people at the top start to see us as a good customer base and they start shifting, then these psychological disordered people, they're not going to get the attention that they crave. And the thing is that they're trying to smear us. They're trying to smear Comicsgate every way that they can. And they're doing it in different ways, but they're trying to smear us so that we look like a hate group, that we look racist and misogynistic and everything else, so that the higher ups can only see us that way. That's what they've been doing, especially over the last week, because there has been, and I would say there hasn't really come out that much evidence of it yet, but it really looks like this is a coordinated attack against Comicsgate exactly for this reason. And like I said, it's been done in several different ways. Joe Quesada is doing it in a very passive-aggressive way. Other people, like Mark Waid, are doing it in a very aggressive way. But this is what is going on. This is why this attack has been coming over the last week and is going to probably continue. This is why. Because we have proven, not only did we say that we're going to walk away, but we have proven that we have walked away from their product. Anyway, hopefully I've given you something new to think about. If I did, hit like, hit subscribe. Also, leave me a message so that you give me something new to think about. That would be great. I appreciate everybody who leaves a message. I appreciate everybody who has hit like, everybody who has subscribed to my channel. All right. I'll see you later. Bye.